Yay Networks.
Welcome to another episode of the Fitish podcast. We've had a lot going on these last couple of weeks. I'm sorry, I think we took a week off there just because we couldn't get in the same place to record for y'all. Fran was gone, then I was gone, and I got back and Fran said, oh, hey, I gotta leave tomorrow. Now you're back.
We took a little summer vacation.
We live in summer vacation now. But I thought maybe for this episode, we wanted to talk about like parenting struggles, because I know a lot of you that listen are parents, and we share a lot about parenting and kind of our journey. But lately, I think, yes, we live in summer vacation, but we still have a toddler. And I think it's really interesting, not that it's anything abnormal, but what's been going on with him lately and some of the conversation you and I have had around that, because I think that so often I see on social media parents, you're guilty, but it's like, oh, he's amazing all the time. And I don't totally disagree with that sentiment. I think our child's amazing, as most parents feel about their children, but we're definitely entering into that toddler era. And don't you think it's true that sometimes you forget? Like, you hear all about the terrible twos, and people say, oh no, it's the terrible threes, but then you kind of forget.
I stopped listening after you said I'm guilty, because I didn't know what I'm guilty of.
Good. You could have just left it at I stopped listening, and I think everyone would have totally understood. But I have felt for a little bit, frustrated with moments of Remy's behavior. And can't you just totally understand why? It's like very, very terrible thing to say, but you understand why parents with less emotional maturity beat their kids sometimes. Like, they get so angry because the kids can be so frustratingly difficult, and you try different approaches, and it's just crazy to me when you still encounter judgmental parents, because it's like, oh my gosh, parenting is not for the faint. Parenting is so hard in different ways, from newborn when you first have a child to then going through toddler. And I know so many of you shared with me, oh, just wait till they're a teenager and you're dealing with teenage emotions and they don't want to
I can wait. I can
wait. That's why
like,
we moved. Yeah, I can wait.
It's just so crazy. Like, you just hit the nail on the head. Like, there is a reason.
Yeah.
I'm putting them together.
Okay.
Don't pressure me, because I'll take longer. So it is just so true. Like, it's so easy to lose your fucking shit. It's so, because it's like, it gets so frustrating until you realize that he's a 2-year-old and you are a little older, just a little. But it gets so frustrating because you think that what you're doing is linear and that he's going to respond in the same linear way. Like, you take him to school, you treat him amazing, he gets everything he needs to survive.
Asshole.
You put little boundaries and he just goes and slaps you in the face.
Literally.
Yeah. And figuratively also, because he just goes and does completely the opposite as you would expect with the treatment that you're providing for this little demon. And it's when you have to reel it in, it's like, wait, sometimes it's a reflection of yourself,
Well, I don't take it that personally. I don't think he's a reflection of me. Not always. Maybe the stubbornness and other things, but he's being a toddler. I mean, he doesn't have the capacity.
So that is when you have to realize that things are not linear. Like, that's where I'm trying to get at. Like, things, he understands, he has a very white and black situation, no? Like, he understands what's good sometimes, but also the boundaries, he tippy-toes them. Well, he doesn't tippy-toe the boundary, he just jumps over the boundary. And it's his nature, that's what he's learning. He's learning boundaries, and the hard part as a parent is how to enforce them, how to keep him within boundaries without...
I've gotten some really great feedback, which, of course, talking about this in lieu of, bringing an expert on the show, which I think would be the right move. But I get so much great feedback from followers that have gone through this already or shortly ahead of us. And there's one very common answer that seems to be a great solution. And they've really comforted me. It's made me feel a lot better. And we'll kind of talk about the course of action that you and I discussed as well, because it's kind of along the lines of what we talked about. But it is difficult because I do think every kid's probably different as well. And some kids, you understand why they need corporal punishment. I mean, we're still in that boat where I'm not going to lie and say I haven't like squeezed his leg hard when he's kicking me and I'm trying to change his diaper and I'll be like, just to show him I mean business. But, Fran and I are really trying to stay away from doing to him what he's doing to us because deep down that's probably not the right model of behavior for him. But last night, let's just talk about this. Last night, before we get into the real issue that was presented to us, last night, just as an example, Fran's been out of town. We had a really nice day. We had a really nice afternoon. He took a long nap. I think he hadn't been feeling very good. And we had a great night. Went to the beach, went to dinner, really joyful. And reading books, laying him down. He looks at me, staring into my eyes very longingly. I thought it might be that moment where he's like, Mama, I love you so much. He goes, Mama, I don't like you. I said, I'm sorry, you love me how much? Mama, I don't like Mama. I like Papa. Well, Papa's not here, you little shit. I'm putting you to bed. I almost said that. I thought about it. I go, well, that's not very nice. That hurts Mama's feelings. Do you understand why that could hurt Mama's feelings? I don't like Mama.
Oh, yeah. You're just digging into it.
Mama, can I have some cremita and some agüita? And I go, no, you may not. He's a scammer. I know a scammer when I see one. He scams every which way he can to prolong that bedtime. But that's the thing. They'll just look at you and rip your heart out, right? But a lot of this stuff lately has stemmed, and I have felt that it's been a problem, right? I have felt this sense of unease for a while when Remy's around a new child because he will hit. And, we do lots of things. I'll remove him from the situation. We go sit outside. We talk about it. He knows. I mean, he tells me on the way to school, Mama, I'm not going to hit my friends today. Mama, I'm not going to hit those niños today. And I'm like, you don't hit those niños. And so when you were gone, I pick him up from school on Monday. And the teachers are great. Bye-bye. This little girl, an older sister of one of Remy's classmates, runs up to me and said, excuse me, Miss Jenna, Remy hit Nina. The mom was standing right there. We've become friendly with the mom. Luckily, this mom's cool. I love cool parents because this is her third child. So she knows it's probably normal behavior. She goes, she just kind of did this, it's normal. She has 2 older siblings, and I didn't think a whole lot of it. And then I get a phone call from Francisco in the afternoon and tell everyone what was said.
The principal of the school calls me and say, hey, I think we should give Remy a break for a week. It seems that he's going through something. Is anybody at home traveling? I was like, yeah, well, I'm actually traveling right now. Well, he seems a little bit stressed. He's hitting friends. And we think that it's better to give him some space and work through his feelings. What do you say? It's like, I don't know. We are going through, I've been traveling. Mom, we've been traveling, but nothing is going to change in the future. We travel and we just need to know how to cope. This parenting thing is not for the
No, it's not. And Fran and I had a conversation for a while, of course, about this on Monday night. And oh my gosh, because when school calls that he was hitting, he didn't just hit Nina, he was hitting. And I've been worried about that because I've noticed that behavior. He'll snatch, he'll be a little aggressive because he's learning how to share. I mean, and the comforting and reassuring thing is so many of you have said, Jenna, this is such normal behavior. I had someone write me yesterday and said, imagine how I felt. I was the director of the school and my child was the biter. And I had to deal with that as the director of the school. So apparently it's very normal. But it did make Fran and I, before getting into kind of our solution-oriented plan, we really started to talk through what him and I have been going through recently because, I was gone last week. We had some drama with our, landlord who's trying to sell the house and kind of put us in this position of, wanting us to move out, right? So that's a story for another day. But that made us feel very stressed, and Fran had, a pretty serious conversation with her about it. And that whole situation, I think, put a lot of stress on, my mom and Francisco and I. And then in the last couple of weeks with traveling and everything going on, Fran and I have definitely had our fair share of, tenser conversations. And often Remy's around, we don't fight and scream and yell in front of Remy, but we've definitely had some conversations where, thinking of our son, not only he's highly emotional, he's empathetic, he's emotional, he was probably feeling a lot of that stress. And so, gosh, then it makes you feel terrible as a parent because, I'm sure this behavior is normal.
That is part that is just crazy how I think I'm starting to feel that feeling terrible as a parent for those little things. Like people could talk about when you feel terrible as a parent.
Welcome to my everyday. I feel terrible as a parent in moments every day.
Well, I felt terrible as a parent because it made me go back to the example that I'm giving my son. And I hope I'm giving him the best example, but under stress and situations, is he absorbing the good, the bad? How am I acting? So we went back and I talked to you about the solutions that we are about to.
Yeah, well, we're going to fill you in on what we've decided to do after we take a quick break. Ritual is a sponsor of the Fitish podcast, and it was so funny. The other day I was speaking with some members of my Fitish team, and I was commenting about how my stomach didn't feel good. I had been on some antibiotics, and I was like, it kills all the good bacteria in your gut. I have to make sure I'm good when I get back in town about my Ritual probiotic, my Symbiotic Plus. And one of my employees said, what's a probiotic? What's gut health? What's a gut microbiome? And it made me realize that I've known about this for many years now since I've been such a fan of Ritual's product offerings. And, I started with the daily multivitamin for women, and I did the postnatal, the prenatal, and the postnatal. And then obviously when they introduced the Symbiotic Plus, which is actually a 3-in-1, a prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic. So it's even better than some of the other probiotics out there on the market because there's so many other elements in there, like the nutrients for the probiotics to feed on, and then the postbiotics to keep your gut barrier and the lining healthy. It was just amazing what a change that made for me and how I was feeling, kind of to the point that I didn't know that my stomach wasn't in the best shape until I started taking this. I think that you'll absolutely love it. I love all of Ritual's offerings. Mainly, I started, if I could give myself away, taking these because they were the best tasting vitamins I could find, and I felt that they were very transparent about the ingredients, and they got delivered to my mailbox in a 30-day supply. So I could be lazy about it and still know I was taking something that was healthy, and it tasted really good. The other vitamins are lemon coated. This Symbiotic Plus has a minty flavor, so you're not going to get any negative taste with these supplements when you swallow them or later on in the day. And I think that's a huge factor when you're swallowing something every single day. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/Fitish. That's ritual.com/Fitish for 25% off your first month. And if you want to know what I'm taking with Ritual, it's the Women's Daily Multivitamin as well as the Symbiotic Plus that you can just add to your subscription. And if you're pregnant or you're postpartum, I highly recommend the prenatal and the postnatal. Again, that's ritual.com/Fitish for 25% off your first month. Welcome, Brack.
Welcome, Brat.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. So really, we've just been dedicating this show to talking about
Parenting.
Remy's behavioral issues. And that's such a terrible way to put it, isn't it? Because is it behavioral issues or is it just totally normal toddler development? I think it's just difficult when you see other kids like not hitting. And the one commonality I see is that they have siblings. And a lot of people have commented this to me, he needs a sibling, or it's the parents that are the coolest are usually the ones that have multiple kids. They're like, oh, this is normal, because then the kids learn how to interact with one another, and they probably beat the shit out of each other at home to a certain extent until they get used to, wait, I don't like this. But it's nice, right? Because you have one kid hit a kid, and then the sibling hits them back, and then they're both like, I don't like that, But I think Remy just has to learn on friends. So yeah, a second child, That's another conversation, actually. You, for the first time in a while, said something.
What did I say?
Something. You said something the other night. Do you remember? You said something. You said something along the lines.
I wanted to get laid, Whatever it takes.
You're like hacking. You sound like you need a Z-Pack. My gosh.
I'm in the house.
That's what you're resorting to?
No,
That you wanna have
baby.
another baby?
No.
You did make a comment about
Of course. I really think that he needs a brother or a sister. I really think that that could be very good for him and her or him. But it's so tough. And I'm pretty sure I'm not telling you guys anything new, especially the ones that are parents of couples. But
So I reached out to a therapist friend. I shouldn't even call her a therapist because she's so highly trained. She's a psychiatrist at a very high level. She's was a college girlfriend of mine, and she's great. And I had actually reached out to her to talk about some other, family issues and some support, just for some reference materials, about it. But
freebie consult?
She's a freebie consult. Yeah, I'm scamming. No, she's a mom of two, and she does a lot of work on, boundary setting and things of that nature, even with, your partner or your husband, about kind of the mental load of mothering and parenthood. So I was getting some tips for her about some, kind of issues we've been having as a family around the house, and was joking with her about Remy, and she goes, oh, that's very normal kind of developmental stuff. But her, along with the school, because of course, let's ask the school for their advice, right? And then Fran and I kind of talking about our own things that we're gonna start doing. But the most common advice so far has been consistency with redirection, consistency with showing them, with redirection, talking about it. I think we're really good. We try to be so good about, why are you hitting? You're mad, you're sad, you're frustrated, because he does have a lot of words. And some people have asked me, does he not have enough words? And he has a lot of words. So it's weird that he's not expressing it, but it's definitely something going on with him, maybe not feeling great. His ears has been bad. His eczema was flaring up, so obviously he's uncomfortable, and he's been in school for a while and a whole new set of kids for summer school. So there's definitely been some changes, literally, environmentally and physically for him. But Fran and I, number one, said, okay, when we're stressed, when we're arguing, when we're fighting, clearly he's old enough now to pick up on it. We're going to fake it till we make it. I think that is, it's definitely easier said than done. But bar none, Fran and I are going to at least remove what we have control over out of the equation. That if we can control the way that we speak to each other when we're frustrated, if we can control not even talking about something when we're mad at each other, not mumbling things under our breath, not, the feeling tense. If we can kind of fake it and just push it under the rug and maybe have the conversation privately later, we have to do that. It's not like we do that every day, but we're just maybe because we don't fight so much that we just do it in the moment. But anyway, right? So we just decided no more heavy conversation that's stressful for us in front of him.
Yeah. I think that is one, and we have different elements here because we live in a commune. Like, your mom is in the house. Yeah. Like, it's a lot of tensions that sometimes happen, and if we have anything to address it when he's not around. I think personally, what's up?
I just realized, my mom and I got in a fight the other day, and he was in the car.
Yeah.
It was my fault for sure.
100%. Now we know. Okay, never mind. Let's go to a different subject. The weather.
Tensions have been higher just for various things, and that's another podcast episode, just kind of our relationship with our parents, right? And them getting older and things like that. But yeah, my mom and I were having some issues, and that's really where my reaching out to my friend had started before this came to a head with Remy. And I'm going, oh my gosh, he's feeling all the tension from all of us in the house. I don't think that's probably the sole reason that this is happening, but school recommended the redirection, right? Like we show him by
Positive
example, which
redirection.
that's what's hard, right? Because we do not hit each other. We do not hit him. So the fact that he's doing that, he does have a biter friend at school. So I thought, is he emulating that behavior? But, probably a little too much screen time. I think we've been guilty of. He really likes Aladdin. I think we're like letting him watch a movie every day. It's probably too much.
He knows pretty much every
He knows
word.
every word to Aladdin. It's creepy. And Aladdin's pretty like high energy and Jafar's pretty mean. Like Remy comes up to me and he'll put a fake sword.
Is the lamp?
That I was getting to that part. Yeah. And
I was acting it, baby.
and
I also know all the words because I've been watching it with him.
it is good. But yeah, so you start to run through this whole list of things when maybe it's not even really any of those things, or it's a combination, or he's just growing and not feeling great. But if you're curious and you have issues and you don't like to, talk about it for fear of judgment, hopefully this makes you feel better, and we're just figuring out as we go. But yeah, redirection and and also praising good behavior. And last night he was so sweet to me. He before he told me that he didn't like me, he stroked my face and was being really nice and was just like, thank you for, I don't know, he was thanking me for getting
Stroke or strike?
his agüita. He was like, thank you for my agüita. And I'm praising that, because he can often be such a sweet child. So I'm working hard on, praising the good behavior and then, acknowledging the bad. But yeah, it gets so tough sometimes.
And the thing is that the way that they say to do it, like school especially, this program, the Waldorf, is not, it's that redirection to the positive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if he hits, this is how we do it. Like when you're thick in the moment, redirection to the positive takes everything out of you. And that's why I think one of the things that I'm going to do personally is go
To clown school?
back to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
No, not clown school yet. I'm not there yet. I just try to control
Yeah.
my emotions, like try to control my personal
Yeah.
baggage. Because if I can control my personal baggage, I can direct him to help him how to control his personal
I'm
baggage.
so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be part of my plan, my next 90-day plan, to see how I can be a better person, to be a better parent for him.
A lot of pressure this parenting is.
So much.
And also, I have always been of the opinion, before I became a mother, whether this is correct or not, that 99% of the time, like a bad kid, a bad adult, it comes from bad parenting. Like for me, I put a lot of responsibility on the parent, I mean, that's always been the joke with me. Like when you date a loser, you're like, this was the mom's fault for sure, right? Because you feel bad attributing someone's bad behavior to just like their bad behavior.
Are you changing your mind?
What?
Are you changing your mind?
No, but that's why I do feel so bad as a parent some days that I'm like, I don't want to raise a son that has horrible attachment issues and anger issues and doesn't know how to talk about his feelings, and I don't think that we will. I mean, I talk to him so much that he just can't talk it out quite yet. Oh, these flies landing on me.
Just lies.
Just embracing. I'm the fly lady.
Yeah.
Just embracing it right
But
now.
you're sweet. Look at me, no flies.
It's because
no
you're
sweet.
sick right now. They don't want that sicky blood.
I thought that they were like already like swarming around just in
You're
case I
usually the one that gets eaten by the mosquitoes, but anyway, we're always welcome to your advice, and there's some really great parenting resources out there. We love the Big Little Feelings, Instagram account. I think that one's great. I think Fran and I kind of go through phases where we haven't been so concerned about it that we were going to seek like actual therapy for Remy, but it did make us reassess kind of our own therapy needs and just individual kind of family boundary setting and making sure we're all feeling good, because I think that this was a big move in a lot of ways for all three of us, and anything can be very exciting at first and you're kind of riding the wave, but then 4 months in, knowing that we don't have a home back in the States to go back to and this is it, I think we all kind of have our days of, okay, what's next? How are we building a life here? And then we tend to take it out on each other if things, aren't
And
perfect.
we want to make it seem that everything is okay. Like, we want to make it seem that we just didn't have a life-changing situation.
Yeah, because we know this is for the best. It's
Yeah.
just still, though, sometimes you have those moments where we go, whoa, this was a
But
huge move for all of us.
it's okay not to be okay.
Fran, I've had days that I say to you, like, I'm not having a good day with this today. I've probably had 3 or 4 of those days in the last few months since we moved, and I don't remember what you said to me in those moments.
I said, it's okay not to be
I
okay.
think you said, oh, really? Like, I was like, I'm so frustrated. I don't know more Spanish, and I had a hard time with something today, and you go,
Duolingo.
learn Spanish. Yeah. I go, I'm
Follow me for more advice.
fucking working on it. Yeah. I have been working on it.
No, she's been working on her Spanish, but her Spanish hasn't improved as much as her cooking. Oh my God.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you want to get laid. That's what's happening here. Oh.
No, you just made like a pad thai. Like the most delicious pad thai I have tried.
I brushed my hair off my shoulders fully, but I'm trying to cover my boobaliciousness, so you said before we started. Yeah, I'm cooking more. I've embraced the slowness here because even today I started to get frustrated because we went a couple of hours with no power at all. And right in the middle of me, like I had gotten dressed so we could record a podcast and be productive and film content. And I felt very frustrated for 30 minutes. And then I said, well, this is what it is. The weather's actually pretty nice today and it just is what it is, and luckily it came back on. And that's kind of one of those caveats to living, in Baja, Mexico. And we heard this would happen. So, but it is obviously frustrating when you're in the middle of a work day and you have no power, no internet, no nothing.
I was in Dallas for 72 hours.
I saw you got insomnia cookies and Velvet Taco twice. If
Velvet
y'all want to
Taco
know
too?
what Fran gets, yeah, we need Velvet Taco as a sponsor. Fran got Velvet Taco the 2 nights in a row that he was there.
Yeah. I got Velvet Taco. I really love Velvet Taco.
I know, you used to get
I'm in
Velvet.
Taco Town.
That's what's weird is you're Mexican. And
The thing is that Velvet Taco is my type of Mexican,
Really?
Yeah. Very, very methodical.
Okay, so we're going to Mexico City next week.
We can
for a
find
few
amazing
weeks.
tacos
That's what I
there.
was going to
Yeah.
say. Can you take me to your
Yeah, we're going to
favorite-
have a tour, a taco tour.
Okay.
We're going to go to the Michelin star taco. And then we're going to go from there.
No, we should end there. You should never... That's like staying in the Four Seasons and then staying in a motel.
I know exactly what I'm doing because
No.
I think that Michelin star should not. Like, it's amazing, but it's not. I can take you to better tacos than that taco.
The last time Fran took me to better tacos, he put a tracker in my crotch and like let me go in the middle of a market. And I go, should I be here?
You saying put a tracker in your crotch, people are thinking of that is to catch a smuggler, that you had it like in your hoo-ha. But no, this is going to be a taco tour that is going to be amazing. But what I was I'm going to backtrack to being in Dallas for 72 hours.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my fault.
I love Dallas. Like, I really think it's a great town. But my anxiety levels just grace. Like, and I'm nonstop. I think yesterday I had 3 days cramped into one day. It was very productive. But when I was flying down and I got my car at the airport and start driving to our home, it's like, I don't mind going back, even if I have to go back, worst case scenario, once a week. As long as I come back here, and Remy came back, when I came to the house, give me the biggest, tightest hug
Yeah, he missed you.
and a kiss. And he was so excited.
I have enjoyed my Dallas trips as well for work. It feels really good.
Don't get worried. It's not gonna be once a week.
No, I'm not worried. It's just that I think about it a lot. And one of my best girlfriends in Dallas said to me when I was there, checking in and, what's your kind of favorite and least favorite so far? And the least favorite for me right now I am, and y'all are gonna think I'm silly, and I could cry over it. So don't make fun.
Insomnia.
I am so sad that I can't take Remy to look at Halloween stuff right now because he wants it so bad. And it's such a fun, easy thing to go to at home, go to Home Depot, go to Walmart, go to Target, go to Home Goods. Like, it killed at least a month of activities on a day-to-day basis in a good way, in a fun way. It made him very happy. And so I'm really missing it because I know you all know I love Halloween, but Halloween for me has changed in a way that, I love it for him. And it's silly, but I've really
open a
missed that
spirit
right
of
now.
Halloween in Cabo. Like, I think
Maybe big business.
I don't know if it's going to be a big
I went
business.
to Home Depot here the other day in Cabo to look, because Remy wanted to go to Home Depot. He knows Home Depot has Halloween. We watched the YouTube videos. We went to the Home Depot in Cabo, and I asked a woman, ¿Tienes Halloween? She's like, no.
Like, you ask a Mexican in August, ¿tienes Halloween? There's like, they're going to call the psychiatrist institution. It's like someone just escaped.
They had one poster board with the 5 big animatronics that Home Depot will have this year that you could order, which I've already ordered from the US and it's somewhere on its way down. I don't even know if now our landlord will allow us to put it up, but that was it. So we stood and stared at the poster board for a few minutes and I just felt so sad. So that's the low, but the highlight, going back to the anxiety levels, is that's what I said to her, the ease of living and, just hopping in the car, wearing whatever you want, but also from a personal standpoint, that's great, but also kind of that effortlessness of Remy's. You would think that he'll be better because of this, but when you go out to eat in the States with your toddler, you feel that level of anxiety because you just don't know how that meal is going to go. You just don't know, are we going to make it through this meal? Are we going to have to get everything to go? Is he going to lose his shit? Do I have to do screen time? And then you kind of fight with your partner because, I'd be the one that's like, put up Blippy. Like, I want to have a glass of wine and enjoy 30 minutes, do some Blippy, and I wish that my kid would just sit there and color, but sometimes he does, but sometimes he doesn't, But here, if he wants to get the testosterone out and the legs out, he can just get up from the table and go. He can play on the beach at the restaurant. He can play on the rocks. He can find another kid at the restaurant. He can go climb the tree. And yeah, Fran's like following him around scared. But in general, you see a lot of parents just letting their kids do that. And that is so, I don't think it's just a Mexican thing. I think it's more of a European kind of thing because they, a lot of it's just more comfortable and casual that they're allowed
Very
to
kids oriented. That's something that is so crazy. And you would have think out of a first power of the world, as they call the US, they will have a little more. Like, I remember one of the first great playgrounds I went was in a McDonald's, maybe in San Antonio, when I was like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took them all off, maybe liability. Here, there are restaurants. In Mexico City, we're going to go to restaurants where they have daycare. You go into the restaurant, drop your kid off.
Really?
They take care of your kid. You eat.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
You can see the child.
Yeah. Yeah, you have it like an app. You can see it.
It's true. I don't know. I mean, yeah, we talk about that like, I don't know where we fall in terms of that kind of moment. But yeah, I would just say for me, because going out to eat and quality of day-to-day life is a huge deal because we do so much of it. So I was saying to my friend, I go, that's what's so great about living somewhere more.
How many hours did you scam out of your friend?
What do you mean?
Of your therapist friend?
First of all, follow the fucking story. I said in Dallas when I went out to eat with one of my good girlfriends, she asked me my high and my low. Different conversation, different girl, different friend. Do you feel the rain? I haven't felt rain here yet. Do you feel it?
Yeah, I think it's a bird peeing.
No, it's definitely rain. You haven't heard the thunder? Different friend, follow the story.
Okay.
Did you check out early on in the show?
Yeah.
No, it was Alora, and she was asking me that. And also, how many hours did I scam? You mean who loves to have a conversation with me.
I love to have
friend.
a conversation with
Friend,
you.
the other day we're having a conversation. It's like you will look for your words and take your time telling a damn story on the podcast. And the other day we're having a conversation and I was trying to tell you the color part of the story. And I was trying to tell you and you go, oh, so we're like, just like doing the slow version of the story. You make comments like that to me when I'm trying to tell you a story.
Yeah, and I'm guilty and I apologize.
No, I wasn't asking for an apology, just a little bit of empathy, a little bit of understanding. But no, it's so fabulous to be able to, yesterday, even after kind of having these hard moments, go to a restaurant that's on the beach, order a glass of wine, bring Remy, I'm prepped, colors, coloring book, trucks, animals. We had Noah's Ark, like we were ready to go, you know. Each activity lasts a couple of minutes, but then he just stood up and played in the sand right by the table, and I had a glass of wine and watched him play with his stick. He loved it. And it was really nice. Because then you know what I'm saying, like my levels come down.
Yeah.
And instead of like, Remy, no, no, don't do that. No, here, just watch my phone. Like we haven't done screen time since we moved here when we're not at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like well, largely because we like don't have service some places. But no, we just haven't needed it. And a lot of the restaurants don't have Wi-Fi, which is kind of nice because then it makes you sit there and talk to each other.
Yeah. So amazing.
It's a nice dynamic.
I feel happy and I feel good about all of this. I'm pretty sure we're going to figure it out. We do want to hear your opinion and your advice. How have you dealt with
Only
this
if your kids turned out good.
Yeah, no, if your kid is a loser, we don't want to hear it. Well, I want to hear just to see what not to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah, like
I love you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
He wants to get laid. You see it? You can see it, right? I mean, I wouldn't have said that unless you had not said that earlier. But now it all makes sense. We can work on that.
Okay. Sounds good right now.
See you later.